I get asked all the time why my family and I moved to Portugal. We've been here for a year and a half or so, and I still get asked all the time, like, what was it that made the move? And my answers are really similar to most people's answers that have moved in the last few years. You know, the thought of sending my kid to school where she was going to be experiencing active shooter drills was just not something I could stomach. She was, she's 9 now, so she was, headed to school during the pandemic, and that was like obviously not happening. So I I just couldn't face it. I couldn't see putting her in that environment. It was both scary for me and scary for her, so that was a big part of it. Also, being self-employed, the never-ending fear of like a catastrophic illness, like breaking us financially for the rest of our lives. So that was a huge factor. And also being able to make our life smaller, which is ironic considered we were living in a tiny house before I moved to Portugal. But somehow, even living in a tiny house, our expenses were high. We had to have 2 cars and insurance and, right? Like there was all these things that made our life heavy and complicated and expensive. And it felt like I was just never able to catch up. And here the pressure's off, and it's been incredible to learn how right we were. Like I kept thinking, like it can't possibly be as great as we're expecting it to be, but it really has been. Of course it has its faults. I mean, it's not a perfect place. No place is, but those big reasons were enough, and they've been true. Like we've been right about the fact that like American life has gotten deeply stressful. Just in general, the work ethic, the lack of medical care, the politics, the intensity of all of that, and then you add in like the constant threat of gun violence everywhere, and it's gotten to a place where American life is not worth the price that we paid at all. And since we got here, it's like my husband and I both have really experienced such an incredible calming of our nervous system. We are calmer with each other. We are calmer with our kid. We are better people because we're not afraid all the time of something bad happened, breaking a bone, having it cost thousands and thousands of dollars. And, the medical care here is great. And we pay a fair amount for it. And it doesn't feel crippling, and it doesn't feel scary. And we don't have to worry about violence all the time. And it's been incredible and calming and truly amazing. And yes, it was expensive and it was intense and moving was bananas, but it's been absolutely worth it. And I can't imagine ever going back.